At the beginning of episode 4, the two of them were kissing. Sejong walks in and asks, "Wooju, are you here?" But when she sees them kissing, she quickly says sorry and leaves. Her friend asks if her team leader is inside. Sejong says she's not sure, but judging by his back, it seems like he is. Her friend suggests they should go check, but Sejong stops her saying, "Forget it, they're kissing." Then she walks away. Mary tells Wooju that she's probably gone. Wooju agrees. Mary notices something and says, "You've got lipstick on your lips." He tries to wipe it off but can't, so she helps him, gently touching his lips. Later, they both step outside to look for Sejong, but she's already gone. Then we see them back in town, getting ready to hang their wedding photo. But they don't have a hammer. They go to listen for help, and he brings one for them. Wooju asks, "Weren't you on a business trip? How was it?" Listen says it went well, then adds, "It's the weekend. You should be home resting." Wooju replies, "I'm too busy. I try to rest, but that's impossible." Listen then says he's heading out to hang out and asks if they want to come along. Wooju and Mary tell him they already have plans. The two leave together, walking close to each other, sometimes brushing shoulders, while Listen just watches them until they disappear inside. Next, Wooju is at work. Sejong passes by, staring at him. Wonsuk asks why she's looking at him like that. Sejong says she saw him at the photo studio yesterday, but Monsu insists it must have been someone else. During their meeting later, Sejong is still talking about Wooju. Suni comes over and asks what they're discussing. Sejong explains what she saw, but Suni says that can't be right. She doesn't believe Wooju has a girlfriend. "Didn't you see his face?" she asks. Sejong says, "He was kissing someone." Suni asks who the girl was, but Sejong admits she doesn't know. Then, while they're talking about the kiss, Sejong looks at Mary and says, "She looked a lot like you." Mary freezes and says nothing. Sejong tells her, "You could just call the photo studio and ask who came in yesterday." Mary says, "You didn't even think of that." Sejong then starts to make the call. Wooju walks in for the meeting just as she's on the phone. Afterward, Wooju tells Mary that he had already made the photo studio reservation under a different name. Mary thanks him, saying she was so nervous inside, she was sweating. Wooju asks if Listen tried to contact her again, but she says no. Mary adds, "When we took those wedding photos, that kiss just kinda happened. Don't take it seriously." Wooju laughs. "I'm not the one taking it seriously. You are. You practically jumped on me like a bull." Mary blushes and says, "Sejong showed up. If I hadn't kissed you, she would have seen us. By the way, was that your first kiss?" Wooju says, "I was just trying to avoid Sejong." Then he hands her the clothes she left behind. She thanks him, and he says, "If you're grateful, you owe me. My grandma loved your designs. She wants you to make a presentation." Later, Mary talks to Songyi about the upcoming presentation. Songyi tells her who Pin Lion is and praises her in several ways. Mary gets excited and says she's looking forward to meeting her and working together. Meanwhile, Pin Lian is speaking with Hongku. She asks if he went to the funeral, and he nods. He says something's been bothering him. He suspects that their employee, Mr. Ko, was embezzling money. They recently found out he was gambling, and then the next day he had an accident. Pin Lion is shocked, saying, "That can't be. He was so loyal." Hongku says he knows it's hard to believe, but it's the truth. If the media finds out about the embezzlement, it could ruin their company's image. Pin Lion asks what they should do. Hongku advises that they should stay quiet. At dinner, Pin Lion tells Young-soo that he'll be taking over Mr. Ko's position. She also says they should do something for his family. Mian interrupts, saying, "His wife never even came to see us. Why should we do anything?" She adds that Mr. Ko was the only one in the car. If his family had been with him, they all would have died. Everyone turns to look at Wooju, since the same thing happened to his family. Hongku signals Mian to stop talking, but she keeps going, saying, "Come on, everyone knows his story." Wooju calmly says, "It's fine, I'm okay," and leaves the room. Afterward, Pin Lion scolds Mian for her insensitive comments. Mian snaps back, "Why do you always scold me? He said he's fine." But Young-soo quietly says, "He's not fine. I know him. He's fragile. He gets scared easily. When we were kids, I took one of his toys. He always carried that toy with him. It was his comfort toy." We then see Wooju in his room, staring at that same toy. He flashes back to the past, to the car crash. He had crawled out of the wreck, screaming for help. a car stopped nearby, with a little girl and her father inside. Later, at the police station, Woo-ju sits silently while the taxi driver and the little girl give their statements. The girl walks up to him, hands him her toy, and says, "My dad gave this to me for my birthday. You can have it." There's a button on it. When she presses it, it plays comforting words. Then Pin, Leon, and Hanku arrive. Woo-ju runs to his grandmother, crying. When he looks back for the girl, she's gone. But the toy remains. He takes the toy and sits in the car, then spots the same girl crying nearby. She asks her father, "Did that boy's parents die? That can't be true. Who's gonna take care of him now?" Woo-ju overhears everything. Then we cut to Mary at home, replaying the kiss scene in her head. She mumbles, "Did I use my tongue?" She keeps replaying the moment, then hits herself, saying, "What am I doing? Am I getting too deep into character? I shouldn't be acting like this. It wasn't even real." Next, we see Jin Kyung at the hospital, looking for a spot to confess her feelings. Once she finds it, she calls Woo-ju and asks, "Are you free today? Let's go out together." Woo-ju asks, "Why are you taking me out? Don't you have friends?" Jin Kyung replies, "That's not it at all. I thought you might be getting bored, so I wanted to take you out." Woo-ju says, "All right, I already have plans today, but I'll meet you in the evening." Jin Kyung gets really happy. The nurse looks at her and asks if she's going on a date, but Jin Kyung doesn't say anything. She starts looking through a file and says that their VIP patient is Sung Yeon. She also adds that they visited him and thinks nothing is wrong with him. He's just pretending to stay in the hospital. Just then, Listen walks by, and the nurse immediately goes quiet. After he leaves, the nurse tells Jin Kyung that Listen works for Sung Yeon, and no matter if it's day or night, he has to come here. She says she feels bad for him. In the next scene, Mary and Woo-ju are together, preparing to meet Sung Yeon today. They match their shoes, their clothes, and get everything ready. Mary asks him questions about their wedding, and Woo-ju answers. Then she asks when their honeymoon was, but he can't answer. Mary says, "We never even went on a honeymoon. So if they ask, just say we plan to go to London." Woo-ju jokes that her ex must be pretty cool to let her go on a honeymoon trip with another man. Mary replies that she did so much for him, she bought insurance for him, helped with the apartment money. Woo-ju asks if he ever thanked her, but she says no. Woo-ju then asks how they met. Mary starts recalling the past and says that during a vacation, she almost drowned, but he saved her. She thought that was love, and they'd get married, but she was wrong. Woo-ju asks if she regrets it. She admits she does and says maybe the problem was her. Maybe she needs to change herself. Woo-ju says, "You don't need to change the right person. We'll love you just the way you are, someone who won't take your love lightly." Mary thanks him for saying that. Inside, Mary's phone starts ringing. It's her mom, but she doesn't notice. Meanwhile, Suk-ja tells Young-suk, "Why are you preparing food?" Young-suk says she's going to meet Mary's in-laws. Suk-ja tells her that Woo-ju never comes to visit, that he looks down on her. But Young-suk insists that's not true. He's just busy. She says she'll call him right now. At that time, Woo-ju is in a hotel, checking his stock investments, which have dropped. He gets a call from Mary's mom, but ignores it and cuts the call. Then he sees a message on his girlfriend Jenny's phone. It's from a guy named C, asking her to come to a room. Jenny comes out of the shower and tells him to go shower next. Woo-ju kisses her and heads into the bathroom. The next scene shows Listen arriving at the police station. He calls Mary and tells her that Mr. Sung won't be able to meet them today, so let's cancel. Mary says it's fine. Then Listen goes inside and meets a man showing him a video of Sung Yeon hitting him. The man asks who Listen is, and Listen says he represents Mr. Sung. Afterward, Listen meets the victim outside and asks him to tell the police that he hit Sung Yeon first. The man refuses, saying they have the footage. Listen says the footage can be erased. The man still refuses. So, Listen offers him money. The man is shocked at the amount and finally agrees. Mary later tells Woo-ju that Sung Yeon won't be coming. Woo-ju says, "Okay, I'll come another day," and starts to leave. But then he notices some paintings, cartoon-style ones. He asks what they are. Mary says she wants to include them in her presentation and asks if he wants to know more. Woo-ju says, "Sure, tell me." Meanwhile, Listen is with Sung Yeon at the hospital, explaining what he did with the victim. Sung Yeon asks why he paid so much money. Listen replies that the man had footage. Sung-yeon then asks about his father. Does he know what happened? Listen says his father also believes Sung-yeon is the victim. Sung-yeon nods and asks him to bring food. As Listen leaves, Jin-kyung overhears everything. Then we see Mary showing her presentation. She says she created this cartoon inspired by her first love. Woo-ju laughs and says it looks silly, but Mary insists it's not, that he was handsome. Woo-ju asks if she's still in touch with her first love, and she denies it. Then she asks him about his first love. Woo-ju says he's never experienced one. Mary playfully hits him with a pillow and says, "Don't lie." Woo-ju just looks at her. Mary apologizes, but Woo-ju says it's okay. Just then, Jin-kyung calls him. Woo-ju says he totally forgot they were supposed to meet today. Jin-kyung says it's fine. They can meet another time. Later, Jin-kyung goes to a bar, starts drinking, and Listen joins her, silently drinking too. She keeps looking at him, then starts a conversation, saying she knows who he is, that he works for the VIP patient in their hospital. She adds that there are lots of rumors about him, that he's a terrible person. But even so, she says she respects Listen. Listen looks at her and asks who she is. Jin-kyung says she's seen him at the hospital. She's a doctor. Listen then says, whoever is spreading those rumors should be fired or paid off. Jin-kyung says, let it be. I was just trying to comfort you. Listen replies, that's not comfort, that's arrogance. She apologizes, then adds that money can't solve everything, and that he must be upset. That's why he's here, just like her. He looks at her quietly. She asks what he's looking at, then says, do you think I'm upset because someone dumped me? That's not it. Listen doesn't reply, just pours her another drink. Jin-kyung asks if he's trying to flirt, but he denies it and says, I just want you to drink this and go home soon. Meanwhile, Young-suk has arrived in Seoul. The next scene shows Woo-ju giving his presentation, with Mary there too. Suddenly, Mary gets a message from her mom, saying she's in Seoul and heading to Woo-ju's family home. Mary runs out in panic. Woo-ju notices and follows her. Mary tries calling her mom, but she doesn't pick up. Woo-ju asks what's wrong, and Mary says her mom is going to meet his family. Woo-ju says, your mom probably doesn't know you two broke up. Just then, Sejong comes out and tells Mary her turn for the presentation has come. Woo-ju tells her to send him her ex's address. He'll try to stop her mom. Mary sends it, and meanwhile, Young-suk has already arrived there. She talks to both of them, and they tell her that Woo-ju and her daughter have already broken up. One of them scoffs and says, did you really think your daughter could become the daughter-in-law of our family? She doesn't know anything. She doesn't even have a degree. They start saying all kinds of harsh things to her. Young-suk tries to defend herself, but accidentally slips and falls to the ground. Both women panic and rush inside for help. At that very moment, Woo-ju arrives and sees her on the floor. He quickly runs over and helps her up. Then he gently asks, you're Mary's mother, right? She nods her head yes. In the next scene, both of them are in the car. Young-suk asks him, does your company work with my daughter? Woo-ju smiles and replies, yes, we do. And by the way, could you please speak casually with me? After all, she's my boss at her own company. Young-suk laughs nervously and says, you must have heard what those people said back there, but it's not true. My daughter is a really good person. Woo-ju nods and says, I know, everyone likes her. Then Young-suk begins talking about her daughter's childhood, how much she suffered after her father passed away, and how strong she has been since. Meanwhile, Mary finishes her presentation and calls her mom. She asks if everything's okay. Young-suk replies, I couldn't meet them. I'm with Woo-ju right now, but I'm heading back to my hometown. Don't worry about me. After hanging up, she tells Woo-ju not to tell Mary that they met. She doesn't want to make her daughter anxious. She didn't tell me about the breakup herself, she adds, so she must have had her reasons. Woo-ju nods and promises not to say anything. Later, he calls Mary and says, your mom's gone back home. She gave me some food for you. I'm coming over, so stay home. Mary agrees, though she's already in a taxi when Jinwoo calls her. What they talk about will be revealed later. At home, she's visibly upset. Suddenly, someone knocks on the door. It's Woo-ju. He hands her the food and notices her troubled expression. What's wrong? He asks. At first, she doesn't respond, but then she confesses, I found out that my mom met them. We flash back to Jinwoo's call earlier, where she shouted at Woo-ju, your mother came here, didn't she? You didn't even tell her about us. Because of her, my mom was completely heartbroken. Mary tells Woo-ju, I should have told my mom earlier, but I couldn't. Now she'll never be proud of me. Wooju calmly replies, "Why do you need her to be proud? You're her daughter, that's enough. You don't have to prove anything. And I'm sure your mom is ready to hear your story when you're ready to tell it." Later, Mary calls her mom and starts to bring up Wooju, but Young-suk cuts her off, saying, "Don't. I already know what kind of person he is. You did the right thing by leaving him. Just live happily in your apartment." Mary hesitates before saying, "I don't live there anymore. I moved into a townhouse. I even won an award." She explains how it happened, but Young-suk only says, "That's good, but don't get caught." Mary is shocked to hear her mom talk like that. Then we see Young-suk looking at a photo. She tears Wooju's picture in half and starts dancing in happiness over her daughter's award. Meanwhile, Wooju is with Jenny. She tells him she's going to meet a friend later. Wooju curiously asks, "Who?" Jenny just smiles and says, "I'll introduce you someday. I've got to go now." In the elevator, she kisses him goodbye and leaves. Wooju feels uneasy and decides to follow her. He watches as she heads into a hotel, trying to figure out which room she's going to. Then he remembers the text he saw earlier on her phone, the same name and the same room number. He quietly takes the stairs up to that room. When he looks inside, he sees Jenny kissing another man. His heart sinks. He realizes she's been cheating on him. At the same time, Mary is at home eating the food her mom sent. Her mom calls and says, "I lost my purse somewhere. I think it might be in Wooju's car. Can you ask him?" Mary agrees and calls Wooju. He checks the car, finds the purse, but when he opens it, he notices a photograph. It's the same little girl who once gave him a toy. Then it hits him. He remembers the moment he brought Mary to the hotel and saw that same photo before. That's when he realized Mary was the very girl he'd been searching for all these years, the girl from his past, right there in front of him all along. We see flashes of the moments between them, the wedding photos, his growing closeness to her, and the way he deliberately stayed near her because now he knew she was his first love. He remembers his school days, how he once got scared when a car approached him, and how he later fell into depression, the only comfort being that little toy he always carried. Now, everything makes sense to him. Every time he helped Mary, every time he listened to her, it was all because deep down, he wanted to repay the kindness she once showed him. In the final moments, we see another Wooju, who's now back in Korea. Mary is busy working at home when her phone rings. She thinks it's the colleague she's been collaborating with and says, "Did you find the purse?" But the voice on the other end says, "It's me, I'm back." And with that, the episode ends. We'll see what happens next in episode 5. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.